the Dhamma and the Sangha, I make accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha. I make accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. I make accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje jodo zoge chonam no chanju bardo dane gyatso chi dage jinso gebe sonam ge dola penjir sanje rubare sho sanje jodo zoge chonam no chanju bardo dane gyatso chi dage jinso gebe sonam ge dola penjir sanje rubare sho Sanje joda zoge chonam la janju bardo dane gyapso che dage jinso kebe sonam dola benjire sanje rubare sho. Okay, and so I'm not too sure how many of you want to go into more detail about emptiness, but if you're interested, of course there are more. I would highly suggest you, if you feel that okay, this is something very precious for me, then you have to go into more detailed studies, not just superficial 1 week retreat here, 1 week workshop here. This not help, and it'll just give you a glimpse, and then nothing's left in your hand. So instead, you have to go for some more systematic studies. So this is what I would suggest, number one. Number two is that more for the immediate, it is just the kindling of the fire, and to just keep it going, I would suggest that the more like for the ordinary, for the beginners, not really for beginners, but anybody can read that. Is His Holiness's book, which is very good, on emptiness, how to see yourself as you really are. How to see yourself as you really are. How to see yourself as you really are. This is a very good book for us to read, and this will give us a very good idea of what emptiness is. And for more like day-to-day practical the purposes, in this book, in the end, I wrote a short practical, the practice manual on emptiness. Staircase to emptiness. Somebody could find that on the table of contents. Staircase to emptiness. Page 305. Okay, this is so that is in appendix, page 305. Yes, this staircase to emptiness. This is which I wrote. Is for beginners. For beginners, this will be very helpful. And for emptiness, what I would say is that simply because it is a book doesn't mean that it's a great source. Some of the books can be really misleading. So for emptiness, what I would suggest, until you learn, you get a very good picture of emptiness where there's no blind spots left, and you're very confident, you practice it, and it makes you really feel the benefits such as I said earlier, a tickling sensation in the body, and the cold waves flowing through the body, and also like an extremely tranquil feeling, very serene feeling coming, and a little bit of agitation. You met in emptiness, instant agitation subsides. If these things happen, you are getting somewhere, meaning you are in the proper track. So because of extensive studies, reflection, meditation, then you can read. Say you read, and then you'll realize that some of the books they're really very misleading, and instead of help, it can damage individuals. So you can see that. So initially, I would suggest that since you cannot make a distinction which is good, which is not good, Simply because it's a book doesn't mean that it is a book with a good cover. Doesn't mean that it has the meaning. Some of them are very misleading. Even the author himself is not too sure what emptiness is. There are many of these books which I've seen, and on top of that, I actually know one author who was actually said, let's say that there's many years ago, I'm not going to mention the name. He was actually receiving teachings from my teacher in the morning. In the afternoon, he's writing his own commentaries. That's a disaster. So therefore, simply because it's a book doesn't mean that it's a standard book. So you must make sure that you read standard books. And later on, once your knowledge of the emptiness is so good, really good, where you meet with the big scholars like Geshes, Khenpos, and so forth, really the intellectual giants of these, and then they'll be very happy to see that your knowledge is good. Then you read, you can decide that, oh, this book is really very shallow, it is not very misguiding, wrong information, and even the author is not too sure about this concept and so forth. Sometimes some of the authors, they explain emptiness and they say that emptiness is the impermanence. Impermanence is emptiness. So just the absence of permanent phenomena is the emptiness. This is how many authors explain. So this is very misleading. You should be very careful. Okay, so today, otherwise usually we used to recite the Ye Dharma mantra and the rest. So instead we'll read from page 213. So this compilation is going to be very helpful. And for information, this compilation comes from the teachings that is almost has been given for the last many years on emptiness, page 213, dependent origination and emptiness. And so there, particularly when I was translating for His Holiness, I used to gather the pieces, which Holiness cites so often, gather the pieces, and then later on we put them together. And also that through what I learned from my teachers, reading from authentic sources, we kept just compiling them. So this is a result of that. It's just a few pages. It's like a compilation of excerpts from sutras and treatises for meditation emptiness, and primarily inspired by the teachings of His Holiness. Okay. So we're going to read this, and the first passage I'll quickly give you the idea, and otherwise we'll read through the self-explanatory. And the first passage is that the Bodhicitta is comparing two things, the two bodhisattvas. By the way, what's the difference between bodhisattvas and the Buddhas? Anyone? Visions. Bodhisattvas and Buddhas. Okay. The difference between bodhisattvas and the Buddhas. Okay, then Jitwala.
Someone who's on the path of Buddhahood, and Buddha is someone who has attained enlightenment and awakening.
Good. And the lady there to your left. Okay, Raz?
Yes, I was going to say.
No, say it.
Bodhisattva is someone who has taken vows and is on the way to Buddhahood, but is not fully enlightened, and the Buddha is someone who is fully enlightened.
Okay. The Gati?
I think the Bodhisattva is delaying his form, helping and being helping others to get there.
And the Buddhas?
Delay his Buddhahood until other human beings or sentient beings.
Okay, did you hear what Gati said? So Bodhisattva is somebody who is helping others and who delayed his or her meditation, enlightenment for helping others. So if he becomes enlightened, then he cannot help.
Nirvana, we understood that.
So Buddha is someone who is already realized, and Bodhisattva is taking vows and on the way to realization. at the same time, we are trying to help others get to realization with them. So someone who is on the path to enlightenment necessarily doesn't have to be a bodhisattva. They could still be moving towards Buddhahood, but a bodhisattva is moving towards, but also trying to help others get there.
Yes, over there.
Bodhisattvas are the ones who have achieved nirvana but not enlightenment.
Okay, no. Okay, I say, okay, Ornella.
Bodhisattvas are the ones that are reach the path of seeing, and the Buddhas are fully enlightened.
Anyone else? Okay, Karen?
Bodhisattva is someone who has generated Bodhicitta
Uh,
and has not achieved enlightenment yet, and Buddha has achieved enlightenment.
okay, Jyoti?
Bodhisattvas are the ones who are on the path of getting Buddhahood and studying, but skillfully and with what's the word that you use? Systematically studying on the path of Buddha, but as unmotivated.
And Buddhasa?
Buddha who has already are enlightened.
Okay, good. So overall picture is good. Understand it. Otherwise, many people say that the Bodhisattvas are better than the Buddhas because the Bodhisattvas, they come back to samsara to help the beings, and Buddhas, they lived. Right? So this is not a good understanding. But even some books may depict such a concept. It's not correct. Bodhisattva, by the very definition, is bodhisattva. Bodhi meaning full awakening. Sattva is the courageous one. The courageous one who commits to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So if you say that, okay, I'll delay my Buddhahood, which means that you're not Bodhisattva. But Bodhisattva means I want to become Buddha as soon as possible. Even the greatest of the Bodhisattvas, activity of the greatest of the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, if you compare the two, these two are like, the difference is, so when you become a Buddha, how you benefit the beings is like the sun. And in comparison with the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, however great you are, your benefit of the beings is like the, what do you call that? The tiny worm with the light?
Firelight.
Like a fireflies, as in comparison with the Buddhas. So, become Buddha is far more effective, beneficial to benefit the being. So, in simple terms, Bodhisattva is somebody who said, the Bodhicitta, who said? Karen. So, Bodhisattva is anybody who generated this commitment, may I become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings, which means who has generated the Bodhicitta, and from the point that he or she made this commitment, immediately before he or she becomes enlightened, the Buddha. So that is the Bodhisattva stage. And then the last moment of the Bodhisattvahood, and then the next moment where all your mental defilements are removed completely, that's the point when you become a Buddha. So Buddha and Bodhisattvas. But we do find, so what Gati said, like the Bodhisattvas, they delay their Buddhahood. So this is actually not like that. In fact, it's like, for example, let's say, if you are the mother, or if you are the elder child and you have a younger brother or younger daughter, no, younger brother or younger sister, and let's say that that you are extremely intelligent, and your brother or let's say your sister is not so intelligent, and you learn so fast, and then sometimes you may say that, okay, I will delay my studies. Actually, if you delay your studies, you are actually harming your brother and sister, because more learned you are, more you can benefit your sister and brother. But if sister and brother feel so demoralized that we don't learn anywhere, just tell, look at my sister, look at my brother, she's so intelligent. So the brother, to console the sister, the brother may say that, okay, I will delay my study, it doesn't matter, you study. right? So then we'll go together. Actually, no. So brother, the smart brother or sister will know that me learning more can benefit my brother or sister more. You agree with me? But to help your brother or sister, he or she will say that okay, I will wait, you study, then we'll go together. So the bodhisattvas, Buddha means they're free from the sufferings, and sentient is the suffering. Okay, I will quickly become enlightened, and you are suffering, I'll help you, but I'll quickly become enlightened. Then sentient will be very sad, you know. So just to make them happy, so don't worry, I'll be with you in samsara. Right? I'll be with you in samsara. I'll not become enlightened. I'll be with you in samsara. And sentient means they're happy. So if you're with samsara, if you're with us, then we'll work hard. You'll be there as my guide, our guide. You're getting it? This is a skillful way by which to this one thing. Another one is that the bodhisattvas, they become extremely selfless. Extremely selfless, that they are so keen to help the beings. And in whatever way it helps the beings, they're ready to do that. For example, if they don't become enlightened, they can help the beings, they will say, may I not become enlightened. And sometimes they say that if my going to hell realm, where I suffer, then the beings are liberated, let me go to hell realm. This is the amount of the courage the bodhisattvas have. So in the process, what happens? Their mental defilements are removed and become enlightened. Right? Okay, so this is the Buddhism Bodhisattvas. So in other words, what I'm saying is that the first passage here, page 213, it is where the Buddha is comparing to two Bodhisattvas. So now look, from this is a great message for us. This is a great message. Who are the two Bodhisattvas? One Bodhisattva who already became Bodhisattva since many lifetimes ago, but without the wisdom of emptiness. And another one is freshly became a Bodhisattva, a new Bodhisattva, but with the wisdom of emptiness. So now let's see what's the difference. So what the Buddha is telling us, which is better. It says, let's read this together. A gift of the youth, Ratna Sutra. Manjushri, whoever listens even with doubt to this teaching on emptiness generates much greater merit than a bodhisattva who lacking skill in means meaning who lacking the wisdom of emptiness, practices the 6 perfections for 100,000 aeons. This being so, what need is there to say anything about a person who listens to this teaching without doubt? What need is there to say anything about a person who imparts the scripture in writing, memorizes it, and also teaches thoroughly and extensively to others? The treasure of the one thus gone sutra. Any person who possessing all these 10 great non-virtues enters into the teaching of selflessness and has faith and conviction that all phenomena are from the beginning pure of their true existence and does not go to a bad rebirth. Chapter on Subduing Devil Sutra. If any bhikshu realizes that all phenomena are absolutely pacified of inherent existence and the beginning of their defilements is devoid of self-nature, it will remove the guilt of having defilements and make unstable their defilements, thus deeming even the immeasurable negativities dysfunctional, let alone the secondary wrongs done associated with the ethics and rituals. Arideva's 400 verses on the middle way. Those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this dharma of ultimate reality. Should any inquiry ever arise in someone, will shatter samsara in pieces. Yes, this is a very important passage said by the Bodhisattva Arideva. And Bodhisattva Arideva is the main disciple of Arya Nagarjuna. That was in, say, according to some of the historians, it's like 2nd century AD. So what is said here is that even to get a glimpse of emptiness, to learn about emptiness, and start to have some questions. Okay, what I'm seeing, is this the reality? Or things are really empty of what I'm seeing. If this thought comes to you, you are a very meritorious person, because this question will help to remove your self-grasping ignorance. And self-grasping ignorance, like the iceberg on which all the afflictions, contaminant karmas, and miseries are stacked. When the iceberg of self-grasping ignorance dissolves, everything comes down and your samsara is shattered. So this is benefit. So if you're really fed up with this suffering, how many years fed up with suffering? Raise hands. Fed up with suffering. Fed up with suffering. Raise hands. Right? How many are serious? Raise hands. How many you are serious with this? That I'm really fed up. Right? Some you want to do anything to get rid of this suffering. Raise hands. Are you sure? I'll see. Raise hands. I'll see you after 10 years. Okay, all those hands. Okay. And so after 10 years, if I see you in the pubs, then in problem, Amir, right? Right. Make sure that you don't end up in a pub, right? Okay. Huh?
No, I said something in Hebrew. Chasva Khalila is like, yeah, no way.
Are you sure? Let's keep it as no way, right? Okay. So therefore, the point is that this is very true. So even to meet with the teacher on emptiness is so precious, is so rare. And in my personal life, what I've seen is that this Bodhicitta retreat, the first of its kind, the first, was done 2012, how many years now? 10 years ago, we did the first Bodhicitta retreat. So there, somebody signed up for this a year in advance. For this, he was so keen, and he did the booking of the flight, everything done year ahead. Believe it or not. At the last minute, when we are now everybody's going down, I received a mail from him. Something very bad happened to his family. He had to stay behind. It requires a lot of merit. Without merit, this does not happen. You getting it? So let us not take for granted that, we learned emptiness. I just happened to bump in McDonald's, right? And then somebody said, they said, Tusheta there. And I went there. What's happening there? What is happening? Okay, let me just have a taste of, how many of you belong to this category? Raise hands. 1, 2. Okay, there must be some more. 3. Okay, so you think that it may be very accidental. It is not accidental. They're always, But I'm not talking that from the blind faith point of view. There's this, we cannot be. At the moment, you may say that this is accidental. It's not accidental. But you require a lot of merit in order to meet with these teachings on emptiness, on Bodhicitta, a lot of teachings. In fact, one author who is going to be cited so often on the Bodhicitta part, guess who that would be? Not Shantideva. I don't think he's our classmate. Shantideva. Bodhisattva Shantideva, right? With respect. He's not your classmate. Kabir, is he your classmate? Is he from NCC? No. By the way, what is NCC? Narasa. He's not a certificate from Narasa course, right?
It's from NU.
It's
from NU.
What is NU?
Nalanda University.
Yes. Not today's NU. Erstwhile Nalanda University. Right? Okay, the real reputed one. Okay. So what this great teacher, this amazing, this great teacher. By the way, this great teacher, we need to hear his account. Who this great teacher was. Bodhisattva Shantideva. It was in erstwhile Nalanda Monastery University. And he was a very senior monk, right? Let's say that this is the monastery, very senior. But how many have been to Nalanda ruins? So there was a place where all the brilliant thoughts developed. Wow, amazing. The wisdom of emptiness, the Bodhicitta. All these brilliant thoughts developed there. of course, initially taught by the Buddha Shakyamuni and developed there. So there, just imagine, go back. Bodhisattva Shantideva was in the 7th century AD. How many years ago? 7th century AD. How many years ago?
1,000 years.
Joshua, tell me.
1,300 years.
1,300 years. 1,300 years ago. Just imagine, go back in time. And imagine there's this huge intellectual monastic institution. And in fact, it is believed that that is the first university in the world. That was the first university in the world. Not the first living university in the world. Not the first living. It already disappeared. The first university in the world. So there, he was a very senior monk. Of course, a great scholar. But the people thought that he did not know anything. So what do you find? He must say, okay, do you have the small cabins yourself? How many you have a single room residence? What is that like? Small cabin? Very simple. So that was like that. He was in a small cabin there. And most likely you will, because that I'm sharing this story with great reverence. Otherwise, if you were to hear from somebody who is very naive, may think that, oh, this is such a lazy monk. Very senior monk, he must be in his 60s. And you see him always sleeping in the bed, in the daytime. Always sleeping in bed. And the people from outside, they come for pilgrimage. And then they see, this is so weird. We come here to pay respect. And there's a very senior monk in the daytime sleeping, snoring. Right? And then the monks, they felt so embarrassed that we have to do something. But they couldn't do anything. He doesn't really transgress any rules. So they decided to make a plan. Look for a plot to sack him out. So what plot they made was that on the basis of the seniority, the monks are invited to give teachings to the monk audience, which means in the monk audience they are brilliant, the intellectuals, scholars, philosophers, logicians, practitioners, and there was the rule made just to sack him out. And the next day, the disciplinarian and the other officials of the monastery, it was Bodhisattva Shantideva's turn. And they went to him, paid respect to him. Sir, now it is your turn to give the teachings. They thought that he would not have any teaching to give and he would feel so embarrassed and he would run away from the monastery. This was what they thought. So then from his bed, he said, okay. Then he said, oh, no, it's okay, it's now, right? Then he said, okay, then he stood up and he set off to the teaching site. And from distance, he could see a big sitting throne like this, big sitting throne without any steps there, just to embarrass him. So what he did was that, okay, so this is a deliberate, of course he's very smart. Look at his book. Then what he did was that from distance, he gestured to the throne like this, sitting throne like this, with his finger. He gestured it to go down. And instantly the throne went down. Then he went there, got on it, and the throne got up. Then he started to give the teachings. And with the first few lines, people were just mesmerized. People were mesmerized. Wow, everybody was so busy scribbling what he was saying. So precious words are coming from this person who otherwise seen as lazy monk, senior monk, to be discarded, to be sacked off. Then meanwhile, the legend has it that he started to levitate. While he was giving teachings, he was levitating in the air. He continued to give teachings. Then at one point, say the like chapter 8, chapter 9, so some people can hear, some people cannot hear. In chapter 10, and after completion of chapter 10, he disappeared. Then all the officials, the abbot, the disciplinarian, the other officials, they all regretted so much. They went in search of Bodhicitta Shantideva. Finally, they found him in a forest. And then requested him to please, Venerable Sir, please come back to the monastery. This is, we feel so regretful. This is our, we underestimated who you are. And now we realize who you are. So please return to the monastery. And he said, okay, now don't worry. My time in the monastery is over now. I'll stay in the forest by myself and go there. And then they said that, but in the monastery there's a discussion whether chapter 10 is taught by you, whether or not chapter 10. Some people say that yes, he taught this, and some people say that he did not teach. So what's the truth? And he said, yes, I did teach chapter 10. Then Bodhicitta Shantideva said, if you are interested, if the monks are interested to learn more, I also compose another text, Labugunituba, compendium of the deeds, compendium deeds. I wrote that text as well. So in fact, I have kept it as on the rafter in the small veranda. I tied this up at the rafter of the veranda. You can take it and give it to the monks. So now we have these two books, the one who actually taught and the other which he wrote. So these are both available in Tibet, and the Sanskrit manuscript, they're all gone. Luckily, the Sanskrit manuscript, the commentary on this by one of the Indian masters, commentary, from there we can deduce the root text. Otherwise, the root text in the Sanskrit, all gone. So the millions and millions of the very precious manuscripts on logic, philosophy, in the library of the erstwhile Nalanda University, all burned for months and months by the invasion. Invasion came. What is that king? Khilji, yeah. He came and then just killed the monks, burned the monastery. Particularly, he burned the whole library, like 9-storied the building, filled with the very precious manuscripts in Sanskrit. They were all burned for months and months. Very unfortunate. So luckily, many of these manuscripts, not really too many, but at least like some of them were being preserved. They have been, before this invasion happened, continuously some Tibetans come to India, Nalanda, they learn something, they take some manuscripts there to Tibet. So this is how that was all being preserved there, and then these manuscripts being translated into the Tibetan. So guided Buddha's way of life, and all these manuscripts, the great compositions of Arya-Nagarjuna, all these brilliant thoughts, they are available in Tibetan language, luckily. Tibetan language. Now the reconstruction is happening, reconstruction meaning from Tibetan language they're being retranslated back into Sanskrit and Tibetan University in Varanasi. So this being done, and people are very fascinated to see that later on they found 1 to 4 years of the past manuscripts from Nepal. And what is being reconstructed here, when they compare the two, they could see like 93% accuracy. It's a great success. So luckily, the point is that some of these manuscripts meaning the works of the Indian masters, they are still available in Tibet, and it is all because of the great vision of the Indian master Bodhisattva Shantarakshita, 8th century AD. So he was invited to Tibet, and the Tibetans, they were so keen to learn Sanskrit, to learn Buddhism. And he said that there's no point. He advised the king that you start the project to translate all these manuscripts, Sanskrit manuscripts, into Tibetan. So the whole translation project started in Tibet in 8th century AD. This is how let's say, the Buddha's own teachings, more than 100 volumes are still available in Tibetan language, and the Indian Master's commentary, more than 230 volumes, huge volumes available in Tibetan. This is all because of the great vision of Bodhisattva Chandrakshita that they survived. So today we have them, and these are being translated in English. Yeah. So, why is it this? Oh, Bodhisattva Shantideva. So Bodhisattva Shantideva, what he said is that he said that, say, finding the correct path, he said that you will meet with many teachers or many traditions. Finding the correct tradition or the teaching is so rare. This is what he said. Right? Okay. So therefore, in this life, if you really learn all this so well, then in the future lifetimes, you see something, okay, this is not, for example, Einstein, here is the Newtonian physics, or this is not too profound. He could see contradictions here, because he's so brilliant. And if it's not brilliant, if it's like us, then Newtonian physics, wow, that's amazing. Relativity theory is amazing, wow. Quantum mechanics is wow, right? So actually there are contradictions among themselves. Okay, so let's read this. Page 214. Bodhisattva Arideva's 400 verses on the middle way. Those with less merit will not even have a doubt. You follow me? Page 214. Okay. Those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this Dharma of ultimate reality. Should an inquiry ever arise in someone, it will shatter samsara into pieces. Acharya Dharmakirti's commentary on recognition. One is liberated through the view of emptiness. The rest of the meditations are for the sake of that. Bodhisattva Shantideva is guided Bodhisattva's way of life. All of these branches of practices were taught by the Buddha for the sake of wisdom. Therefore, those who wish to pacify suffering should generate this wisdom. Acharya Chandrakirti's entry in the middle way. Even as an ordinary being, when here about emptiness, one experiences with an utter joy again and again, tears from such pure joy moisten one's eyes, and one's hair stands on end. One is the seed of the wisdom of full awakening. Upadhyaya Sutra, the various delightful flowers blossom, and the sparkling supreme gold in their pods stands so enduring. For none of these is their creator, deposited by the power of thought. It is through conceptualization that the world is imputed. Okay, so when meditate emptiness, I personally would recite this verse first before I start the meditation. This verse in Tibetan is Naso yiga mendo khajishin sergi kanjo parwa yongwa tenam tela chebo kamedi teta tobe yongi shawen. This is a Tibetan version. So I always say this first because this is the actual teaching of the Buddha on emptiness, and I just reflect on it says in English, the various delightful flowers blossom. So look at the garden, some of the flowers are so beautiful, and just look at them. And in fact, just for information, that once I was in my personal retreat, 2 months personal retreat, and my retreat place was like the first story. And one just morning when I was having the breakfast, looking down, there was a small garden down there. Looking down, I saw very beautiful, 2 freshly blossomed roses, so beautiful. In my mind, just these 2 flowers got my eyesight, and there's a very pleasant feeling coming in me. So I went down and looked at them, and then I just had this verse. Even this is coming from my mind. There's nothing there from the object. The various delightful flowers blossom, and the sparkling supreme gold in their pot stands so enduring. For none of these is their creator. Say, the flowers planted by the gardener, the houses built by the masons, right? Masons, but nobody can create this. It's just a bunch of atoms. They put the atoms in some way, and your mind imputes a flower there. Your mind imputes a house there, right? Besides this, there's nothing in this house. It's just your mental imputation that things are seen in this way or that way. So for none of these is their creator. They are posited by the power of your thought. It is through conceptualization that the world is imputed. Okay, let's read this together. The Bhikkhuni Vajra's utterance of the Fundamental Vehicle Sutra. The mind is demonic, which views the true self. You have a wrong view. These composition aggregates are empty. There is no being in them. Just as one designates a car, the independence upon a collection of parts, so we assert a conventional sentient beings in dependence upon aggregates. Venerable Shavara's writings. Searching for reality throughout space, no one finds not the periphery nor the center. All perception cease completely. Likewise, through the thorough search of mind and phenomena, one finds not even an atom of essence. Since the searching mind is not found, not seeing anything is seeing the reality. Saint Sarahat's writings. By entering into emptiness, by devoted compassion, one will not find the supreme path. By meditating upon compassion alone, one will not attain liberation but remain in samsara. The one capable of grasping the unity of the two will not remain in samsara, nor abide in personal nirvana. Okay, so this is the essence of the Buddhist teachings. Compassion and the wisdom. These two should go together. King of Concentration Sutra. Okay, this is the one verse which I always, again, as a part of my meditation, I recite this. In Tibetan it is Chidar promotion Milamna Pubuchun Shiva Tedone, Junekan Shin Megata Shun Dishin Shivarcha. This is the Tibetan version. So it says that, so it's very true. So in a life, we see, for example, say in a life, this is what happens. Right? So when somebody's like age 17, 18, 19, 18, the boys, they're so intoxicated for the girls intoxicated for the boys, right? Sometimes they may be dreaming even, right? So they just imagine. So this is just as in a dream of a young girl, not only for the girl, right? You can say this for the boy and then opposite. You relate this opposite. If you're a boy, take this as a boy, young boy. And if you're a girl, take this young girl. So let's say for a girl, say just as in a dream of a young girl, right? Say in a dream she met with the boy, and then two of them have Coca-Cola together, right? Coca-Cola together, right? And particularly when the same straw is very funny, it's very fun. The same straw, right? Okay, it's full of fun, right? It's amazing. It's electrifying, right? Okay. But then they say, so in the heated moment of joy, suddenly the boy collapses, right? Collapses it's just whole cough, with the COVID, cough, and collapses, right? And then they died. And the girl will think that the whole world has shattered. The whole world is meaningless, shattered. So look, you see, they say the two contrast emotions. The first emotion of so much excitement, and the next moment the emotion of so much gloominess, down. This is what samsara is, right? So, just as, okay, let's read this together. Just as, okay, then the girl, right, whole world is so gloomy, I want to die, right? I want to die, I want to commit suicide. Yeah, oftentimes this is what happens, right? They go to commit suicide. Right? Okay. So then when you said, I'm going to commit suicide, then the mother wakes up. Right? Oh, I'm so glad it was a dream. You're getting it? This is a real freedom. Okay. Ras realized it's very true. Yeah. Okay, let's read this together. Let's read this together. And just as in the dream of a young girl, she met with a boy and saw his death. Joyous was she at the meeting, and in anguish at his death, view all phenomena thus. Arya Nagarjuna's fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Seizing karmas and afflictions, okay, this is a typo. Seizing karmas and afflictions is nirvana, not lead to nirvana. Seizing karmas and afflictions is nirvana. You want to correct it? Correct it. Okay, let's do it together. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thought. These arise from mental elaboration of grasping a true existence. Elaboration ceases by way into emptiness. Neither the aggregates, no different from the aggregates. Okay, now try to see what you've learned is reflected in these verses. Neither the aggregates, meaning the atoms are not the flower. The 6 elements, not the person. You're getting it? Neither the aggregates, no different from the aggregates. Aggregates don't depend on him, nor is he dependent on them. The Tathagata does not possess the aggregates. What is the Tathagata? That which dependent origin. Okay, let's read this together. That which dependent originates is posited to be empty independent existence. That being dependent is designated, this is the middle way. Since there is no phenomena, there is no dependent originated, therefore there is no phenomena, there is not empty. Arjuna's precious garland. If the person is not earth, not water, not fire, not air, not space, not also consciousness, and not all of them, where is the person out of those? Just as a person is not truly existent because of being an aggregation of the 6 elements, each element also is not truly existent as their aggregation of their own constituents. Dharmasamgiti Sutra. Forms appear as a mass of form. Feelings resemble bubbles in water. And discrimination like a mirage. Mental formations like plantain trees. Consciousness like the magical illusion. So taught Surya Mitra. Surya Mitra means the Buddha. Arjuna's commentary on the awakening mind. Those who understand this emptiness of phenomena, yet also conform to the law of karma and its results. That is more amazing than amazing. That is more wondrous than wondrous. Okay. So this is a very important, the passage say, by the study of emptiness, by the reflection and by the meditation. And should you have a doubt, am I in the correct direction? Am I really going to emptiness or I'm going to nihilism? So this stanza can be used as a, say what do you call it?
Check.
Check.
Test.
As
a test.
As a test or a check. Okay, just to evaluate if you're in the proper track. So this is then where, so you get some experience of emptiness, that things are like illusion that comes. And meanwhile, you're respectful of law of karma. Cause and effect, your respect for law. Yes, therefore, because these are all like illusion, therefore, law of karma, cause and effect is so efficacious. Instead of denying the law of karma, if you respect the law of karma increases, you are in a proper track. Whereas, so although you may get, you may seem like very profound experience, like everything's illusion, and then if you tend to deny that, okay, nothing really exists, good, bad, nothing exists, then they say doing good things, good effect, this is just illusion. If your respectful law of karma decreases, you are falling into nihilism. This is not good sign. You getting it? This is what we need to do. This is very important, the passage for us to use as an evaluator. Okay, let's read this once more. Those who understand this emptiness of phenomena, yet also conform to the law of karma and its results. There's more amazing than amazing, there is more wondrous than wondrous. Adideva's 400 verses on the middle way. When dependent arising is seen, ignorance does not occur. Thus, through all efforts, strive to find this subject. Okay, His Holiness, the 7th Dalai Lama's rain shower feast. Okay, this is very interesting. This is, particularly I like this. What the 7th Dalai Lama is saying, in fact, it said that 7th Dalai Lama is, although he's a political head, he was the political head of Tibet, yet his mind is so much into spirituality. So politically, he just leaves on the other officials to take care of. Himself more into, the studies, meditation. That was, and his composition is extremely profound. They are very experiential. So what is said here is that, okay, where do you see more people? Here in Bodhicitta, or if you're at the crossroad, where busy traffic crossroad, like 6-7 roads crossroad, you are going to see different people, different cars, and so forth. So actually, each one of us, we're at the crossroad 24 hours, right? 6 roads are there. What are 6 roads? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. We are just in the middle of the 6 roads, right? And eyes could see so many things. Ears can hear so many things, right? And then the nose can smell, right? And then the what? The tongue can taste, and then the body can feel, and the mind can just conceptualize so many things. So actually, we are at the crossroad of busy traffics, right? So there, the 7th Dalai Lama reminds us
So you are there, you are at the crossroad. So the crossroad means that you're bound to see so many things. You're bound to perceive so many things. Be mindful that all they are so diverse, very different, but they are all like a magical show. What is a magical show? Not really there. It's all what your mind imputes, like a magical show. And he warns us, don't believe them to be true. Just be mindful of the reality, that objectively it's just empty. Be mindful of this, right? So remember that this is all like a magical show, and be always remain steady and firm, that things all come from the object. In fact, my mind is the one which is a project all these things, all this diversity, they are but only what my mind projects. Okay, let's read this. At the crossroads of the six collections of consciousness that have diverse perceptions are seen hazy, dualistic phenomena which are baseless. Baseless meaning no objective reality. There's a magical show that is by nature deceptive. Don't believe them to be true, but view them as having the nature of emptiness. Don't let your mind go astray, but place it within the nature of appearance and emptiness. Through not losing mindfulness, hold it within the nature of appearance and emptiness. And then what is really there? What is really there? Emptiness of objectivity of the object is the? Do you remember that? Gadi, you remember that?
Yeah.
What is that? Emptiness of the objectivity of the object is the objectivity of the object. Right. So here it's saying that if objectively there's nothing there, then what is objectively there? Right? So it says that whatever the sphere of appearing and existing phenomena is pervaded by the space of ultimate clear light of suchness. The emptiness of objectivity is there. Emptiness of objectivity is there as the objectivity. Raz, you don't get it. Emptiness. Okay, if all what my mind is perceiving, if they are not really from the object, what is there on the object? Do you remember I asked this question, right? Conventional analysis, you see this a flower. Ultimate analysis, you see this emptiness. Or with electromagnetic, you see this atoms. But these are different perceptions. Remove the perception, what is there? You remember that? I asked this question. So this is what the seventh Dalai Lama asked. What is there? Objectively, what is there? Right? Whatever we are seeing, they don't exist objectively. What is then truly there? This question. So it says that the ultimate clear light of the suchness, the emptiness of objectivity is there. You getting it? Emptiness of objectivity is there. So let's read this again. Wow, Gadi will soon realize emptiness. I can see that.
I have something that
He is deeply immersed. I can see that. Wow, I can see that the glow. On the first day, there was no glow there. And today, the glow is very different. Wow, okay. Let's read this again together. The sphere of appearing and existing phenomena is pervaded by the space of the ultimate clear light of suchness. There's ineffable ultimate reality. View this nature of emptiness through abandoning mental contrivances. Don't let your mind go astray, but place it within the ambience of reality. Through not losing mindfulness, hold it within the ambience of reality. Okay, I'll just share an interesting anecdote. I was in America, in one of the centers, a Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul center. It's like today it's like a nunnery or some mix of nunnery. It's more like a nunnery. It's a beautiful place. And I was there working on His Holiness's book there. And during the lunchtime, she has, the nuns, and there was also one monk there. The nuns and the members there, when they have the lunch together, before the lunch, they would read like a short text. You're doing it, not doing it. Wonderful, thank you. This is very helpful actually for us. And this is how I brought it from her tradition. And then at one point, actually, she made it beautifully. So she all these short compositions, she printed them on the book, not book, on the what? Paper, and then laminated this. And then everybody will be given this, the handout or the laminated paper, and then the same thing reads together. And this was read. And I was, wow, this is so beautiful. I said, where can I get this composition? And she said, this is your translation. Interesting. So then I remembered that when I was translating His Holiness, His Holiness actually taught on this. And I translated this, and she was so smart, she kept it well, I lost it. Right? And I was so fascinated to see it. Where can I get it? Can I get a copy? She said, it's your translation. Okay. It's beautiful text, amazing, powerful text. Okay, next. His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama's prayer. Okay, this, I'm going to quickly give you the picture of this. His Holiness, there's a composition known as the Proliferating the Dharma of the Land of Snows. All the different traditions, Nyingma tradition, Tibetan tradition, Nyingma tradition, Kagyu tradition, Sakya tradition, Geduk tradition. So His Holiness wrote the composition. They're praying that each of these traditions thrive. And the part on the Kagyu tradition, that I was so impressed. Not just impressed, I saw that this is very profound. And then every day I'm just, include this in my personal practice. And so just for information. Shall I share this, not share this?
Yes, please.
There's only 2 people, so let's not.
No.
Okay. So I was so impressed. And I included this. So here, what His Holiness is teaching here is about the Mahamudra, the teaching of Mahamudra. So what His Holiness says, how His Holiness explains. Actually, this is how that is explained by the standard masters, like Great Saint Saraha, the Great Saint Tilopa, Great Saint the Naropa, Judumarpa, Mila, all these great teachers. So now that but our Ashwin's question is still not addressed, right? And also the Amir's question is not addressed. I think he must have forgot his question. And Amir also forgot. Okay, so so what His Holiness has taught here is that the first is this very profound. All what we are experiencing, all what we are seeing, what we are, so all this is 5 visual, the 5 sensory objects and mental objects, they're all nothing but the radiance of one's own mind. One's own mind. For example, nowadays with the light, there's the performance, entertainment, pure with the light. You know that? Pure with the light, then all these...
The drones, light drones.
Drone?
Yeah, they did it over India Gate, during Diwali and the Independence Day, with drones, lights on the sky.
Okay, so what I'm saying, on the screen, the lights, like the movie projector, the lights you can see differently, and then all these things are happening there. So it's just a play of the lights. So likewise, it's a play of your mind. So everything that you experience, they are nothing but the radiance of one's own mind. And even this mind is also, even that mind, which is the ultimate source of all these phenomena, the radiance, the mind whose radiance is reflected in the form of all these phenomena, even this mind, which is the ultimate source of this, even that does not exist objectively. Then you see that nothing really is left there in us for ultimate analysis to be objectively real. So it makes your experience extremely profound. So this is Mahamudra. I was so, this is so beautiful, it's so precious. And then wow, that's amazing. If I can meditate on this on a daily basis, then my fears and my agitation, the samsara, they all diminish. This is, the confidence that one can gain. Okay, we'll read this together. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's prayer for proliferating the Dharma of the land of snows. Venerable Marbalul Sawa, Geshe Dorji, and so on. The host of the precious Kaikyu, the source of the blessings, the chain of the unexcelled masters of this outstanding tradition. To you all I pray, may the Buddha Dharma of the land of snows blaze forevermore. Now the main subject. All phenomena encompassing samsara and nirvana are but the radiance of spontaneous awareness. Awareness itself, devoid of elaborations, is realized in the nature of Dharmakaya. Pervading all existences and appearances of samsara and nirvana is a great Mahamudra. May the Buddha Dharma of the land of snows blaze forevermore. Arinigarjunas impressed with Dhammadadu. Impermanent, suffering, empty, they sweep, they purify the mind. The Dharma that is unsurpassed and purify the mind is the life of intrinsic nature. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by the Majusri, be able to uphold the Dharma in general, and the teachings of dependent origins in particular, even across my life. Okay, the next part is so precious. Shri Heruka. Shri Heruka is the name of one of the Buddhas, and some of you must have received the empowerment of Shri Heruka from His Holiness recently. How many received that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. In fact, Shri Heruka, so we speak about the Tantra. Usually I don't speak about Tantra in public. It's where the Buddha Shakyamuni himself, depending on the unique propensities, the proclivities of the individual, some gifted individuals who have practiced wisdom of emptiness, Bodhicitta, for so long in the past lives. Now they come so prepared. For them, this is so rare. In my life, if you were to ask me, say all these what you find amazing concepts taught in these books, how many of the people might have manifested this experience? Like the compassion which we're going to discuss, extremely profound. I would say there's so less who really manifested these, because this is something which you can't really, learn it new and then practice it, and in a few months, few years, you will experience this. No, it'll take time. But there are people who did all this from the past lives. So now in this life, you see them very different, extremely different. So in my life, I've seen some of the people, and they're all monastics. Some of them. One time I was really, this is the word that I like to use here in this context, awestruck, mesmerized by one monk, a very senior monk. He appeared as extremely casual, very simple, totally illiterate, knowing nothing, not knowing anything. And during the scholarly debate, and I would always see this monk everywhere, like Bodhisattva Shantideva, right? Seeing him everywhere, and then very casual, and just mixing with small monks, the casual monks, everyone. And he himself totally is all like totally irresponsible. During the scholarly discussions, all these giants were there, big abbots, His Holiness Ganden Rinpoche, they were all there. And then during the discussions, they say waves of very complicated topics, or the questions were raised. And then people were turning towards each other, what's answer. And then he would very casually say something. And then everybody said, okay, wow. And I was very junior. I could not follow what the debate was. And all these giant scholars, they would just always, whatever he said, would always approve, said that, okay, yes, they were very happy. And I looked at him. He's the one who I always see in the kitchen and everywhere, right? And wow, he's not what appeared to my mind. He's a great scholar. And then I asked about him to some of my friends, not really friends, my teacher level, my teachers. about him. They said, yes, he's a big scholar. He's a big learned, great practitioner. And he's totally unassuming, a great scholar. Then one time, that time I think it was me, already in the senior class. He must be already in his 60s then. Might be in like early 30s or late 20s, but senior then. But as compared with them, I was just like a very junior. And I met him, and his demeanor is just amazing, so unassuming. And wow, I can't imagine such an intellectual giant remaining so low profile, very unassuming, so humble. I was so mesmerized. I must be like him. I must learn to be one like him. This was what I found. So what I'm saying is that I see these qualities reflected in some people, not so often, but there are some of them, but they are all the monastics. It doesn't mean that non-monastics cannot become one like that. Even among the non-monastics, for example, like in the 11th century AD, the great Lama Adisha Devangara Sri Gyana, he was invited from India to Tibet, and his student, Dumde Gyve, he was not a monk, he was a lay practitioner, and he is just a brilliant scholar, and all these qualities on a very high level are all intact with him. In fact, the Lama Adisha, when he was invited to Tibet, is a long story. Tibet, there were a lot of obstacles there because in India, he was the top-notch scholar there in India, Buddhist scholar. And all the Indian masters, they didn't want to send him anywhere else because he's like the crown of the Indian Buddhist philosophy. But the Tibetans, they came all the way from Tibet in the 11th century to invite him. And his own mentor, Lama Adisha's mentor, and the other scholars, they didn't want to send me anywhere because it's so rare to have such a scholar like him. And so one time, how many of you have been to Bodhicitta main temple? Raise hands. Okay, good. So Lama Adisha was circumambulating around this main stupa. So while doing that, he could hear the sound of the anklets of a girl. What is that? The girls, they have the anklets, the Indian, in the past. Bangles, yes. And then this Lama Adisha, he did not pay attention. And then he would still hear this sound. And the girl said, Adisha, you don't even want to look at your mother. And he was frozen. He turned back, and it was Aryatara. Aryatara meaning, when all the statues there, she is the female Buddha. And she said, Adisha, you don't even want to look at your mother. And he turned back, it was Aryatara. Then he asked for advice, whether or not I should go to Tibet. So the Tibetans, they were asking me to come to Tibet. And the Aryatara made a prophecy that if you go to Tibet, no doubt this will be incredibly great service to the Buddha Dharma. But your life will be shortened by 10 years. And on top of that, you're going to meet your student. Like many lifetime students, there was one upasaka meaning a layperson practitioner. As a student, who was your student for all the past many lifetimes, you're going to also meet him there in Tibet. Who was that? Dumde Gyve. So usually, in the pictures, when you depict Lama Adisha, then to the right side of Lama Adisha is a monk, and then Dumde Gyve is a lay practitioner. So you will see Dumde Gyve depicted there. Okay. Okay, so these qualities are well reflected there. So with this now let's say the Shri Heruka. They say Shri Heruka is where the Buddha himself manifested for some very gifted students, gifted disciples. The Buddha manifested in the form of different tantric deities. And Shri Heruka is one of them. So look at this, how the Buddhists, they chose their names. How the Buddhists, they chose their names. Geshe. The Geshe last there? She's here, he's here. Put him in the chair. When Samula, you receive a chair. What about Geshe-la? Okay. Okay. What was the sharing? Shri Heruka. How the Buddhists, they chose their names. It's just to benefit the beings. So look at the meaning of the Shri Heruka. You'll be fascinated, right? You'll be fascinated. So Shri Heruka has how many components? Shri Heruka. 4 components of that. So look at how profound the meanings of these syllables. The ease of the syllable is how profound they are. Okay, so let us see that we have these fears of life. We have these problems. Okay, how many have problems in your life, raise hands? All of us. Or is there anybody who likes to share some problems? Raise hands. Anybody? Very quick, to save time. Yes, over there. Chris.
I work in international human rights, and as you know, there's so much suffering in the world, child prostitution, genocide, the Chinese occupation.
No, what's the problem?
Well, for me, that suffering creates a lot of suffering within me.
Okay. Seeing other people suffer, it creates a lot of problem within me. Anyone else? Very quick, to save time. Who wants to share your problems? Be very honest. Ashwin, you? Yes.
I have back pain sometimes.
I have back pain. Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
I have my pen open.
This is a problem. Besides this, you have no problem. I have this ink problem. Okay, anyone else? Oh, very quick. Hey, to save time. Yes.
And I have a painful hip, and so I sit a little bit.
Okay, so hip pain. Did you all notice one thing in all these? The pain. What else? I. You're getting it? I have the pain. What pain? Hip. What pain? Seeing others suffering. What pain? Backache. What problem? Ink problem. You know. So we see that. So this I is the same. I is the same for all things. And what creates the problem to this I is divergent. Yes? You getting it? This I remains the same. And then say what triggered the pain is so numerous there. If there are 1,000 people, 1,000 different factors are there. So this I, this self, the person interacts with the phenomena like the hip, like the back, like the ink, like the human rights, other things and so forth. You interact with these. Yeah, Geshe-la Peshwa. Oh, Geshe-la Peshwa. Do you want to shoot? Geshe-la Deshu. Camera. Geshe-la Deshu. Mare. Come shoot. Go shoot. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, look, the person, yes, I, is that person or not? That person interacts with the different things, and then what happens? That the pains, problems arise. So in all these problems, there's one thing which is common, which is the person. And that person interacts with things which are other than person interacts with the phenomena which is other than the person. Yes? Then the problems arise. So, for the problems, there are two things. One which is common to all is the I, the person. And it interacts with the phenomena other than the object. That phenomena, it varies. There are so many kinds of these phenomena with which the person interacts. You agree? Okay, now, the real problem is not because of the problem. It's because of seeing I as object real, the person as object real, and seeing the object with which the person interacts as object real. So two ignorances are there, right? So now, where the two hands I have a backache problem, right? This young boy saying, I have a backache problem, like old age, right? Right, hip problem. And then what? Ink problem. So we see that, say the seeing the person as seeing the self, the person as object real, seeing the things with which you interact, the phenomena with which you interact as object real. So these two come together, invariably erupts into pains, right? So if you don't want the pain, what should you do? So there, of the two hands, either you remove both the hands or remove one hand, right? So what you do is that the selflessness means emptiness, and selflessness in a subtle form, it is a selflessness meaning emptiness of objective existence. So selflessness of person means emptiness of the person. So there, the solidification dissolves. You getting it? Of the two, duality. Two means dual. You agree? Of the duality, the two, this person dissolves. Seeing the emptiness of the person. Whereas you see the person object real, then it becomes very strong. And the object with which you interact is so strong, these two come together, erupts into pains and problems. So there, the first, to see the emptiness of the person, your perception of the person as object real, it dissolves. Now only one hand is left. What is that hand? No, the phenomena other than the person with which the person interacts. So you see the emptiness of phenomena. In short, we call it selflessness of phenomena. In short, otherwise, selflessness of phenomena other than the person. So as a phenomena, you see the emptiness of the phenomena, the second hand also dissolves. What is left? Emptiness is left. You're getting it? So the two dissolved, that becomes non-dual. You're getting it? Non-duality. So whereas there are some traditions who talk about who dissolve this phenomena, but the self is not dissolved. But of the two, one is gone, therefore the duality is gone. One is left. Still it is known as non-dual. But within Buddhism, right, not only the phenomena with which object interacts dissolve, even the person also dissolves. Now the two dissolve, duality dissolves. So this is known as a non-duality. You're getting it? So with this non-duality, then there's nothing, there's sound stops. All the misery stops. You're getting it? So, Shiri Heruka. Okay, Shiri Heruka. So what we do is that we keep the Shiri last. Heruka Shiri. You're getting it? Heruka Shiri. Okay, so what is He? What is Ru? What is Ka? What is Shri? You're getting it? So this is where even the Buddhas, how the Buddhists, they choose the name. It's just for the sake of liberating the beings. Saying, how to say this? Heruka Shri, right? So in actuality, you don't say Heruka Shri. It should be Shri Heruka. You're getting it? But how it is explained here in the sadhana is Heruka Shri. So now that you know the self as a person, okay, seeing the self as the person's object real, seeing the phenomena other than the person as object real. Then what happens? The two miseries erupt, right? So it's all because of the combination of two kinds of ignorance coming together that the miseries erupt. So what we do is that how to resolve this, how to remove this, the sound, the eruption of the sound of the miseries by removing the duality, this duality too. The person, seeing the person object real, seeing the phenomena as object real, dissolving these two. So, Shri Heruka Shri He is the selflessness of phenomena. Okay, look, of the two hands, He is the selflessness of phenomena. You remove the one hand. Ru is the selflessness of person. You remove the second hand. What is left now? Non-duality is left. You're getting it? Okay. Ka is the non-duality. What is left is Ka. And who knows this non-duality? Your wisdom knows it. Shri. You're getting it? It's so profound. You're getting it? Let me say this again. Let me say this again. Okay. Shri Heruka, how do you put it? To understand this meaning? Heruka Shri. Okay, so how do problems arise? Because of the two kinds of ignorance coming together. What are the two kinds of ignorance? Ignorance weaving the selfhood of the person, ignorance weaving the selfhood of the phenomenon too. So you see the duality. So this duality is responsible for all our miseries. So with this, you have to dissolve this duality. Don't just say that non-duality. Non-duality per se doesn't mean anything. For example, let's say that knowledge per se doesn't mean anything. Knowledge of emptiness is precious. Knowledge of bomb making is not precious. Knowledge of masala making is not precious. Knowledge of wisdom of emptiness is precious. You're getting it? So likewise, non-duality per se doesn't mean anything. Non-duality in ways of dissolving the misperception or the ignorance of perceiving the person as object real and misperceiving the phenomena as object real. These two dissolve and the non-duality created. That is very precious. You're getting it? Okay. So, of the two ignorances, you dissolve the first ignorance, the phenomenon. Ignorance viewing the selfhood of the phenomena. How do you dissolve that? By the wisdom to see the selflessness of phenomena. You getting it? How do you remove? What are the two kinds of ignorance? Ignorance which views the phenomena as object real, which is also known as the ignorance which views the selfhood of phenomena. Selfhood of phenomena and objective phenomena, these two mean the same. So, how do you remove this ignorance? Okay, the phenomena. Selfless person, selfless phenomena. Don't say, yeah, what is? Which one? By understanding selfless phenomena, don't understand selfless person. How do you remove the ignorance which views the phenomena as the object real or the selfhood of the phenomena? Which wisdom should be cultivated? The wisdom to see the emptiness of the phenomena or wisdom to see the selflessness of phenomena? These two are the same. Wisdom to see the emptiness of phenomena, wisdom to see the selflessness of phenomena, these two are the same. You're getting it? Okay. So by having the wisdom of emptiness of the phenomena, or by having the wisdom of selflessness of phenomena, then the first ignorance dissolves. Of the two hands, one is dissolved. What is next left? The ignorance viewing the selfhood of the person. How do you remove this? By by having the wisdom to see the selflessness of person. Very good. So with this, the second one is removed. Then what is left? Non-duality is left, number 3. So who sees this non-duality? Your wisdom sees this non-duality. Non-dual wisdom sees this non-duality. You getting it? Okay. So look at now. Shri Heruka Shri. He is what? The selflessness of phenomena. Ru is selflessness of person. Ka is the non-duality. Then the Shri is the wisdom which sees the non-duality in a non-dualistic way. The wisdom which sees the non-duality in a non-dualistic way. You getting it? Okay, so let's read this. When you read this, say the with folded hands for the reciting the Buddha Shri Hiruga's name. Shri Hiruga, Shri Hiruga, Shri Hiruga. He is the selflessness of phenomena, the emptiness of the mind, which is the source of everything, as it is impurity to be of causal nature. Ru is the selflessness of the person, the emptiness of the self that is fabricated by the web of conceptual thought that grasps by the self of person. Ka is the ultimate reality, the absence of the dissonant duality of subject and object. Shri is the non-dual exalted wisdom that abides in congruence with the emptiness of the object. This is the meaning of the Evam. Okay, so there are these several things like the emptiness of the mind and then some other questions to be dealt with. We will do this tomorrow, or not, yes, tomorrow. If you come a little early, if you can come a little early by 11, then we'll have the class at 11:30, right? So on the, okay, so now we have only 3 minutes. We will do the, yes.
Really bothers me for a long time.
Yes.
And it connects to many things that we studied here during the couple of days. We discussed about that our existence is subjective, like there's no objective reality existence. Also for the mind, also for us as an entity. And after the meditation, my question is, what is reincarnated? Like, what in the self, when you say that, for example, from other lives?
Okay, so the question is that if nothing really exists objectively, what reincarnates? Yeah. What travels from one life to the other?
And what remains there, because if our mind, our memories, our practice even don't exist, so why are we
doing all these things?
All efforts for next life.
If nothing really exists objectively, why should we put effort? You know, why should we put effort? Okay, is there anybody who likes to give an answer to this? Did you follow the question? Okay, the girl over there first, you have to repeat the question.
If nothing exists objectively, then why should we put in effort?
What is
okay, number one is, okay, the number one is, if nothing really exists objectively, then what travels from one life to the next life? What's the reincarnation? How do we explain the reincarnation? Number one. Number two, then, what's the point of all these practices, the memories, your studies, practice? So, what's the benefit of this for the next life? Right?
There's no body,
there's nothing there. No body, no mind, nothing exists. Okay, what answer?
So my answer is, well, that's like leaning towards nihilism, that argument. And the answer is that you forget about the law of karma. And when you think about karma and dependent origination, then you can realize that.
So, what's your name? What is your name? Okay, Eugenia, just let me take the liberty to paraphrase what you said. I'm not going to say anything extra, but I will just paraphrase what you said, right? So that Betty will say, okay, that makes sense, right? Okay, so basically what Eugenia is saying is that it's not that the self is non-existent, self exists. It's not that the reincarnation doesn't exist, it exists. What exists is independently existing reincarnation doesn't exist. Independent exists, objectively existent self doesn't exist. Or independent existence self doesn't exist. Independent existent mind doesn't exist. Independent existent body doesn't exist, but dependently originated body exists. Dependently originated reincarnation exists. Dependently originated mind exists. So this dependent originated mind travels from one life to the dependently originated next life. You getting it? Okay, let me repeat it. Let me repeat it. So, what you said is true. Nothing exists objectively. Then what is left? What is left is dependently originated phenomena are left. Dependently originated reincarnation is left. Dependently originated studies are carried from one life to the other. Okay, Gati is. Okay.
Dig it into it.
Okay, good. Okay, now I don't see any. My eyes are very blurry. Right? Okay, Bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, let's do for another 5 minutes. And the Bodhicitta, this is the. Okay, so tell me, what is our goal of life? What is goal of life? Resents? Okay, Tilo. To be happy. Okay, now keep in mind today is day number 5. Hey, right? Tilo, be more professional. Be more technical. It's the 5th day. What is the purpose of our life? Resents. Here.
Infinite happiness and fearlessness, which is also known as Buddhahood and Nirvana.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Fearlessness. Who aspires for this fearlessness? The boys, the girls?
No.
Huh?
Everyone.
Everyone. The Buddhist, non-Buddhist?
Yes.
Everyone. Those at the Tushita Center or those outside Tushita Center? Everyone. So this is technically known as Nirvana, right? And alongside, we also want to have the infinite happiness, infinite maximum happiness. And this is technically known as Buddhahood, right? Look, we should be more professional now. It's the 5th day, right? Okay, thank you, Tilak. So, given that this is a point, that's what we learned with the wisdom of emptiness. The first thing that will happen to you is that your fears will dissolve, right? So, we have learned a little bit about how to create this fearlessness. And the same wisdom of emptiness will be responsible for give rise to maximum happiness. But as of now, see, we also like to say in a day-to-day life, how do we see the relevance? How to expand our happiness? You getting it? This we're going to learn. So in this connection, then see if there's the rationality by which we can say that the infinite happiness can be created. Okay, just tell me, in your life, just tell me one moment which is most beautiful in your life. Anyone presents? One moment which is most beautiful in your life. Hey, no one. One moment which is so memorable. Hey, only 2 hands up, 3 hands, 4 hands. Yes, over there, tell me.
When I reached to San Antonio mountain.
When I
reached the San Antonio mountain.
When you reached the
mountain?
The mountain top.
Yes.
The mountain top. Okay.
When my son was born on my birthday.
Wow. Beautiful. Oh, okay. That's so beautiful. So two of you share the same birthday.
Yes.
Two of you share the same birthday. You and your son share the same birthday.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, anyone else? Yes.
I think I was 7 or 8 and we were traveling in a train and I put my head on the lap of my mother. And
Beautiful. Wow, beautiful. Dear. Wow, good. Okay. I would say that in fact, your name, sorry?
Andreas.
Andreas. What Andreas said, similar to what Andreas said, was said by one gentleman, I think about like 4 years ago, in a similar setting, not this big, a smaller setting, in the teaching, I asked the same question. And one gentleman said it with great emotion. When he was saying this, he became emotional. And I said, what's the most beautiful moment in your life? I asked the people. And then he said, just imagine what he said. He said, touching the hand of his 1-day-old daughter. Touching the hand of 1-day-old, his daughter of 1 day old, his daughter who was just 1 day old. And he became so emotional when he said it. So Andreas, look, there's such emotion there, saying that, to see that the son is born on the same day, the date of birth of the father. There's such emotion there. Tell me, who's that son? Who is that daughter? Hey, tell me, who is that son? Who is that daughter? Any guess? Anyone guess? If not, if you cannot guess, I'll tell you. Each one of you are the son, and that daughter. You're getting it? Each one of you. And most of you would say something else. The memorable day is something else. You never talk about that, how my mother took care of me. How my mother gave me love and affection. The way Chunila said, just putting his head in the lap of the mother, it gives such joy to him, right? So we forgot this. Just imagine today if there is somebody who says that, I feel proud of you, right? Would you be happy, not happy? Most likely you will, because you have now, the one who really loves you, you don't love him. The mother and father, you have a problem with your father and mother, right? Now who else? Boyfriend, girlfriend, they have always problem there, right? If you don't believe, ask Ashwin. You're getting it? It's so superficial. It is so superficial. It is so superficial. Now, suddenly if there's somebody who really feels that for you, I'm proud of you. Don't worry. In this world, I'm there to take pride in you, right? If you meet somebody like this, your brother, your sister, like what Jack, wow, Jack or Jackie? Jack. Yesterday what Jack told me was so beautiful. He said that the one that he really thinks of all the time, there are 3 ladies. The grandmother, the mother, and the sister is so beautiful. When he's saying that, he becomes so emotional. It's so beautiful. So we forgot that. In fact, hardly people talk about, so what is the most memorable day? They talk something else. They never talk about the love that I got from my mother, the love that I got from my father when I was very young, vulnerable. Nobody says that. It's so rare, right? We forgot that. So the thing is that, just imagine, this was exactly what happened, I think about 2004. How many years ago? 18 years ago, I trust Joshua. Okay, 18 years ago, I was teaching the American students in Dharamsala down there, IBD, Sara. And after the completion, they were doing 1 semester from Emory University. They came all the way from America to do 1 semester here in India. And I was teaching the Buddhist philosophy. Then 1 semester for 3 months, completion done, they were to return. Before they return, all of them, we built some friendship there. So all of them, the boys, girls, they come to me and say, sir, so, they call me as Genla. Genla means very fondly addressing somebody as sir. It's not formal, it's a very fond, in a very fond, what do you call it? Endearment. Yes. Then they will say, Gela, it's time for us to leave now. We're going back to America. And then the one boy told me that, but there's one girl who has to go 1 week in advance. And I said, why? And he said that because that her mother is suffering from cancer. I said, okay, sorry. And he said that, but she and her mother, they don't go along well. Okay, that's very sad. Okay. The next day, the girl came. Girl came and said the same thing. Genla, I'm leaving 1 week in advance. And I said, okay. And I said, why? My mother suffering from cancer. And I said, okay. And she said, but I don't want to go. I said, why? She said that, because I don't go along well with my mother and me. We don't go along well. Then I said, okay. I don't know your mother. I know you so well. I know you for the last 3 months. I don't know your mother. But I can tell you with great assurance that your mother had given you the maximum love and affection. Look at you, just 21 years old, very healthy girl, very educated. This is the proof that your mother has done everything which she has to do to you. She has done her duty. You are yet to do your duty, I told her. It is you who should give your love and affection, repay the kindness to your mother. You have failed to do your duty. Don't expect the mother to give you love and affection now. Now it is time for you to give the love and affection to your mother back. Now she's vulnerable. Earlier you were vulnerable. When you were vulnerable as a young girl, she was there always to protect you, give you food, give you education, give you health, everything. She did a job. Now it is your time to give back what she gave to you. You already learned about Bodhicitta. You already learned about wisdom of emptiness. Your mother did not learn this, yet she succeeded in doing her duty. And you are yet to do your duty. And she started to cry. And she said, that's very true. Now I realize. And I told her that, okay, if you realized this is so precious. And she said, although I realized now, but my mother will not accept me. I told her, that is the most important thing, that you have to realize. If you have realized, the rest is taken care of, don't worry. I told her, you don't have to go 1 week in advance. Instead, send an email to your mother. Send an email to the mother. In the email, just express what you feel now. Don't express what you felt before. That you regret now. That you could remember the mother's love and affection. That you have failed to do your duty. The mother has done given all the love and affection to you when you needed her the most. Just express all these things. Don't say anything about the not going along and so forth. She said that it took her 3 days to write 1 email. Then on the 4th day, she came with so much joy. And she said, Genla, no, my mom, I received a reply from my mom. My mom already accepted me. Wow. Beautiful moment. Beautiful. So then I said, now you can leave. You can go. Then she left. Look, just imagine. So now the dynamics between the mother and the daughter changed completely. The mother was anticipating for the daughter's return. And the daughter was anticipating to see the mother's face. So beautiful. And she stayed with the mother till the mother's end of her life. She did not separate from the mother. And just imagine that she sent me the dissertation. So all the students, they were to write the dissertation as the conclusion of the 1 semester there. That's write the dissertation. She wrote the dissertation and sent the dissertation to me as a copy, and in which the dedication was made to her mother. From the dedication, you could see that just imagine 2 of them were together for about maybe 4 or 5 months, till the point the mother passed away. And just imagine, through this dedication, I can figure out that every morning the mother was anticipating to see the daughter's face, and the daughter was anticipating to hug the mother every morning. So beautiful. It's so beautiful. So, look, this is, and in the dedication, she wrote it so beautifully. She said, she wrote that I dedicate this dissertation to my mother. And then she wrote, saying, as though like she's talking to the mother, said that, Mom, I'm so lucky that to have you as my mother in this life. And you and myself, both of us will walk along the Buddhahood together, even in the future lifetimes. This is what she wrote. So beautiful. Okay. So look, this says, look, the real magic is where you see everything so beautiful. When do you see that everything is so beautiful? When when the feeling, your mind is imbued with love and affection. Everything is beautiful in the eyes of the mother. Even the dirty wall, the sketch of the son or the little son or the daughter. This dirty wall is a painting for the mother's eye. If the child is very naughty, how the mother did, everybody else was a very mischievous boy, the mother is my active son. And if the son is very dull, everybody says, what a dull child. But mother will say, my very tender young son, very tender son, tender and soft son. You're getting it? This is how, when you're imbued with love and affection, you see everything is divine. This is the magic, the real love that you feel. The real love that you feel towards all the beings. And that is the magic of your happiness. Just imagine. If the way and the manner in which the mother feels towards her child, tender child, if the mother could feel the same thing for 10 people, this joy will be multiplied by 10 times. If the same can be extended to 1,000 people, the joy will be multiplied 1,000 times. If the same can be extended to infinite beings, the joy will be infinite. This is the infinite happiness, right? So next question is it possible? This next question. So if the answer is yes, what's the next question? How? Okay, this is what we're going to do tomorrow, Bodhicitta. Which independent origination, there's no ceasing arising? Okay, don't worry. So remind me tomorrow. And Ashwin's question is also, and then the Amir's question. Okay. We'll do the dedication. Page 52. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas for 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine of description inside. May in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, both within the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast the space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds to wisdom is blinded with ignorance. Deyata Om Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Paragate
Samgate Bodhiswa